Hello all, I'm Marty and this is Warehouse and Operations as a Career. Last week we were in the Midwest. We had the opportunity to visit a couple of different types of distribution facilities and speak with several associates, unloaders, selectors, and forklift drivers. I had a really good conversation with a sanitation lead. It's always great to see all the passion and professionalism. I guess the word pride is what I'm looking for. Anyway, I enjoyed visiting with all these professionals. This week, I'm over in the Southwest and visiting with the production and manufacturing sides of the industry. You know, no matter where I go or what part of our industry I'm getting to look at, I so enjoy getting to visit with all the different employees. Man, I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of talent out there, a lot of up-and-coming success stories. Keep up the great work, ladies and gentlemen, and I know it's appreciated by your management teams, and it'll get you to those goals. Keep working the plan. Oh, and saying that reminded me of making money. That's why we're all working in the first place, right? So I've mentioned a couple of times probably another podcast that I listen to called Unlocking the Secret of Living Rich with Cindy B. Brown. As I've said, I'm not affiliated with it in any way, but you should check out her last episode, I think it was number 91, titled Creative Saving Strategies. Talk about making money. Her tips last week can actually increase our net in our pocket money at the end of each year. Be sure to check it out if you have time. Well, I strayed a little bit again, so let's talk about operations for the next few minutes. About 50% of these recent trips involve safety, either instructing safety, investigating reports, and maybe just visiting with a couple of safety managers or those responsible for loss and prevention. Recently, WAOC received a short message, a question really, I guess. It kind of fits with my recent travels, so I wanted to share parts of it with you today. It started off by saying, I've really enjoyed your recent episodes on all the different positions in warehousing. I myself started unloading rail cars, moved on to be a runner, then a receiver, and right now I'm a forklift driver. I love my old Toyota counterbalance side shifter. He went on to say, I understand the importance of safety, and I really pay attention to what I'm doing, but those everyday safety meetings and repeating the same things over and over again, ... Let's be honest, it's a waste of time. It's not just my manager, it's every company out there, it seems. Shouldn't we just take a course, sign off on it, and go to work every day? It's important, but most people just quit listening, don't they? Well, first, I want to thank you for writing to us, and you'd be surprised how often I hear or see that exact same thing. And I think it's exactly why it has to be brought up every day. I mean, it has to be interesting. It has to cover real-life situations and pertain to our individual positions. And I believe we have to be able to relate to it. You know, I'd love to hear from a few of our listeners that are responsible for delivering those startup and safety meetings. Maybe a supervisor or a manager. Maybe a safety director. How do you keep your associates engaged? If you don't mind, send us some of your secrets to host@warehouseandoperationsasacareer.com and we'll share your thoughts with the group. You've all heard me talk about the importance of a good near-miss program. I think these programs can solve all of these opportunities. By us employees being the ones observing a near miss, something we've seen in our owls or on our docks and documenting it, it'll give our supervisor a real-life situation to share with the whole team. All the little things, of course, are going to be a quick fix, and the larger issues can be passed on to our company's safety committees or upper management to get corrected. As we've learned, if it's documented, it happened. It has to be addressed to some degree. And anything that's not documented, well, it never really happened or happens at all. What better way to keep a topic or conversation interesting than to participate in it? I myself always believe the only way to keep a recurring topic interesting, or for it to have any daily value at all, is that it needs to be second nature to us as humans. It has to be our culture, on the forefront of our minds, kind of intertwined with our daily lives, daily routines. I mean, we wake up, use the restroom, think of getting some breakfast, go to work, probably take the same route to work every day, plan for our lunch, punch out, enjoy the family, and then we go to bed. Very routine, but very interesting. Oh, and there's other things like school for the kiddos, their soccer, football, and baseball games, paying bills, etc., things like that, but it's all in the forefront of our minds. I think we find it interesting because we've built it into our daily lives. All that is part of our culture now. Safety has to be a part of that culture, and it has to be a part of our work culture too. I think all the things that are discussed at our startup and safety meetings can really enforce that safety culture. I went to wikipedia.org. You know I'm a look it up kind of guy. And it stated safety culture is the collection of the beliefs, perceptions, and values that employees share in relation to risk within an organization, such as a workplace or community. Safety culture is a part of an organizational culture. It has been described in a variety of ways. Notice the word employees. That's us. It goes on to mention that safety culture is a part of an organizational culture. That's our employers being committed to us employees and having great policies in place, a good solid process. I can agree that things get to be a routine, especially our safety topics. But as I'm always mentioning, we employees can participate in them and make them much more interesting. I mean, after all, we have seen an example of every topic our manager has ever spoken about. What a great way of getting noticed, helping them get their message across to our peers. Let's face it, we all know the rules and we know why they're important, but occasionally we go around them. And then there's incidences or consequences. Here's a great example of just that. I heard about an experienced forklift operator needing the top pallet of a 3-stack. You know, where there's 3 partial pallets stacked on top of each other. And he was retrieving it off the top rack at his facility. Now, instead of retrieving or lifting all 3, he chose to try and lift just the top one. Of course, this positioned his freight guard only inches from the ceiling, so when he started backing up with the pallet, the guard sheared off the sprinkler head. If you've ever seen a sprinkler head go off, you know that's a pure mess, a very expensive mess. You're going to lose product, maybe even mess up the electronics within the forklift. And that water can be nasty. It's been in those pipes for a long time. It's really hard for me to apply the word accident here. I mean, he knew better. It was a stated rule not to do it. Everyone around him knew it. And yet it happened. If it had been the culture never to make a lift like that, it may have never happened. Those 2 minutes that he saved, or was trying to save, cost thousands of dollars. A whole lot of time in cleaning it up and a record in his employee and safety files. And here's another good one. So an order selector was at a slot. He was off of his triple jack and selecting 9 cases from the pick slot. By all indications and all the witness statements, he was pulled over to the side of the aisle just as he should have been. Another selector, in a bit of a hurry, tried squeezing by him, a bit too close to his last pallet, and nudged the other machine forward, squeezing the first gentleman's leg between his jack housing and the upright. Luckily, he wasn't permanently injured or disabled. This could have been a bad incident. And once again, it's hard for me to use the word accident here. The second selector knew better. He felt really bad about it. He was just in a hurry and didn't follow the rules or do what he knew to do. Would a strong culture of safety prevented this one? I feel of course it would have. The thought process would have been to wait. And moving forward would have never really entered his mind. You may want to check out the episode number 31 of the Safety Pro podcast with Blaine Hoffman. It's titled A Process to Change Workplace Safety Culture. I think you'll really enjoy it. I know I learned a lot from it. So why are those daily meetings so important? It's our health and safety we need to be considering. It's our peers and teammates' health and safety, and it's our company's investment in us as employees. I think we all know it's our responsibility, and it's our job. I urge each of us to do our part. Be a part of our safety teams and coach others. Get them to commit to a strong culture of safety at your facility. A few examples of that culture? There's so many, but here's two that I witnessed just in the last couple of weeks. I really love this one. Every time the floor supervisor meets one of his department's employees, there's a little fist bump. Walking to the break room, meeting in the aisles as they pass each other. It's like a greeting every time that they're within arm's reach. I stopped an employee and asked about it and was told it means I've got this. I'm committed to my task and to do it safely. Now that's a strong safety culture. It's first on everyone's mind. Another real quick one, I was over at the Distribution Training Center last Saturday. Just kind of stopping in, taking care of some reporting. An associate was shutting down for the day and locking everything up. He went over to the equipment and checked out the chargers and the plugs on each one of the units. He then proceeded to check all the doors, all the docks, and the different gates. I asked him why he took the time to check on the equipment and all of the doors. We hadn't used any of them. His reply was that he wanted to make sure the equipment was charged and ready for Monday, and he'd just recheck the docks and the doors just to be sure. He said we have each other's backs, and I wanted to make sure the plate was set for the men and women coming in Monday morning. Again, it was kind of second nature, a part of his team's routine. If I hadn't have asked the question, he'd have never given it a second thought. Safety is all of our jobs. We talk a lot about it here at WAOC, how it's really our first priority, our responsibility, and how effective it can be. Not only does it reduce costs, downtime, and save lives, but being educated in safety will get us noticed by our management teams. I hope that education is a part of all of our plans, both short-term and long-term plans. Safety is really simple too. A couple of things that come to mind that each of us can do, like always use our safety equipment and PPEs. If we need help picking up a box, let's go get someone to help us. Don't try scooting that pallet with your foot. Go get a pallet jack. If the machine we're operating has 10 different guards on it, use all 10. They're there for a reason. Even if we're not working at that particular station, make sure that they're all in the proper place. Sometimes we may be asked to wear steel-toe footwear, being asked because the risk of an injury is present. Keep that safety vest and safety goggles on if we're supposed to. Again, it's probably been determined that we need them. Another great example could be a near-miss program. There's no better way to identify the hazards that's around us. If your facility doesn't have such a program, bring it up. Put it together for your supervisor. At least suggest it to him or her. You'll be surprised at the response, I bet. Another simple one is keep our workstations clean. Keep our pallets stacked at the proper height and separate the good wood from the bad wood. This one is really easy, and you'd be surprised how many little incidents occur just because of poor housekeeping. Let's see, what's another one? An inspection list. I've always used an inspection list. Just a little reminder to check things like dock plates in my area, the hydraulics or the pneumatic action rods, or maybe dock lights. My list keeps me from getting lazy or kind of getting in a rut. Keeping our work areas clean and in good working order is hard work itself. Another real good one is communicate. If you're a supervisor, communicate to your teams. And if you're an employee, communicate with your management and your teammates. As we've learned here at WAOC, communication is success. Well, there's 5 things off the top of my head. There's literally hundreds of other things we can do to help keep our workplace safe and everyone healthy. It's a team effort, or a safety culture, if you will. Well, I hope we've answered the question of why safety is such a big part of our shifts and maybe given you a few ideas on how to improve and implement that safety culture at your facility. And I hope you take a few minutes and check out the 2 other podcasts I mentioned earlier. I'm not affiliated with either. I just learned from them, and you can too. I hope to run into you on either our Facebook or Twitter feeds this week, where we can be found using that little @ WHSEANDOPS. Until next week, let's all pick one safety statement for each day next week and share it with our teams and peers. I bet you'll see that culture taking hold and start growing. Let's all be safe out there, ladies and gentlemen.